Good morning, Insta fam. It's another Saturday. I've got another hour to kill whilst I'm waiting for my son to finish his drama class. And I'm in the car park and I like doing these Instagram live. Been doing a couple of these and actually enjoying them and getting some really good feedback. So thank you to everybody that's been DMing me. And on the topic of DMs, coming up with a format for these Saturdays, I'm thinking Saturday sliding into the DMs, where I kind of just want to give an insight as to what kind of DMs have I received this week, either through LinkedIn, Instagram, other social platforms, or, just work in general, whilst doing HappySelling and like coaching and training and all that sort of jazz. And it's been a busy week. There's been a lot of DMs been sliding. And I think everybody's kind of getting back into the motions after the new year and having the festive break and everything. And, bookings have been coming in terms of conversations. But, I've got a couple of DMs that I wanted to share what's going down, in kind of my world. One of the main DMs that I received this week was the recent news of in tech, where there's a lot of layoffs going on, from the likes of Google, other companies like HackerJob, and other sort of platforms and everything. And, there's been some worries, man. There's been some worries. Hello, Tom. Nice to see you, dude. Welcome to Sliding into Saturday DMs. Give us a wave if you can, dude. So yeah, one of the big topics that I'm seeing from a lot of coaching conversations or people sliding into my DMs is the fear of layoffs and redundancies. And, these have been doing the waves for the last like 2 or 3 years. And, it's quite common within startup land. But the fears are, I've got an SDR job or I've got a sales job in a tech company and they're letting go lots of my team, or, 10% of the workforce is gone, or, management are making things difficult for us in terms of targets and whatnot. Hello, Tom. Feel free to put a comment down below and share if you can. That would help us out, dude. So yeah, coming back to, the layoffs and the fears and everything. So for a lot of SDRs and for a lot of people that are either new to sales, this is a big scary thing. And, there's no hiding from redundancies or layoffs and stuff. It's something which is quite prevalent, especially in the startup land, because, with startups versus established companies, they're not, as established, but even like big tech companies like Google and like whatnot, they do this sort of stuff as well. But, the common advice that I was giving to a lot of these people that I'm coaching or people in my DMs, the main advice is that this is common, within tech. And I've been in companies that have gone through this, and I've had instances where I've been laid off as well, right? So with a lot of startups and tech companies, what you have to understand is that when they started off as a startup, you may have a couple of co-founders. They've thought like of a really cool product. And, they've built it and, they launch it and woo, it's all exciting. And then as time goes on, when they're looking to get more growth within their business, they look for funding, so they approach investors where they come with a pitch deck and like, this is the vision that we see with our company. And we'd like a couple mil in the bank, to help us get there. And the thing that you have to understand is when a company, gets that funding, typically the investors look at that as an investment. So they will critique all of the things about the company, the way that it's running, its operating model, business model, total addressable market, all of those, things. And you have to understand that that startup isn't just led by the founders, it's led pretty much by the investors. So they'll be having board meetings every quarter, where they either have to explain themselves to the investors, and equally they take advice. And that's one of the reasons they take the investment, because they want people that have done it and have a portfolio of other companies that are successful. However, when market conditions change, the investors will turn around to them and say, you need to cut a couple of things and you need to make it a bit leaner if you want to continue. And if you want more money from us as well. And, from my experience, typically when I see startups really taking more, direction from their investors, that's when I kind of used to like, right, time for me to go, because I'm happy in the startup space. So the point that I'm getting to here is it's business, and try not to take it personally, right? The other bits of advice is, around the targets. And, now they're increasing my targets, they're increasing my KPIs, and, some of these things are achievable or some of them are completely achievable. It's the same everywhere, just got to keep your head down and focus on the job at hand. Exactly, Tom, right? And you're somebody that's been in the startup space as well, dude, so thank you for chiming in. So with these targets, etc., the advice that I gave this one dude was, what are the KPIs and what are the targets? Are they realistic? He said they're realistic, but it just feels like I'm doing it for the sake of it. And part of that I feel is true because, again, investors say do this, leadership say, well, we need to get this on, so you need to be doing this in order to keep the engine running. Because everybody's shitting themselves at this point, right? Everybody's neck is on the line. But, the other side of it is if it's really unrealistic, my point to that person was, okay, if they're asking you that, ask them how did they come to that calculation, right? And from there, ask them, do they feel that it's reasonable? And then ask them, how would they see that person hitting those targets in order to achieve those milestones? And if things get a bit wishy-washy, red flag. If they can't explain it or articulate it, red flag. And another one I would say to them is, ask them to reverse engineer for them. What are the revenue goals for the business? And then how does that come back to the sales team, with the other departments as well? And how does it come back to that team? And then how does it come back to you, the individual contributor? And if they cannot explain that, red flag. And the other point was, and, off the back of that, whatever discussions that you're having with your leadership or HR, because again, you have the right to question these things, make sure you document that. Do not leave things to a verbal conversation, just saying, all right, Jeff, I'm cool with that. Or, okay, Linda, totally makes sense. No. You ask them to follow up on an email and you need to have it documented. And if they get wishy-washy with you and say, well, we don't really need to have it in writing, say, I'd rather have it in writing. And if they're apprehensive of doing it in writing, then you're the one that will follow up. You will write the email and say, based on today's discussion, this is my understanding, this is what we're looking to do, just to have this in writing and confirm this is all correct. Because you need to have an audit trail, because as we've seen on some social platforms, I think there was this one lady who got laid off from a company. I'm not going to mention any names or companies because I don't want to get into trouble. But that person recorded that interview with another department, and it can backfire on you as well. But document and look after yourself. Now, all of this aside, there is another perspective that you could be looking at, which is yourself and how do you adapt within a company and how do you build yourself to be an asset. So in my early days, I remember in 1 year in one of the tech companies I worked for, I went through 8 different managers. 8 different managers, which made things a complete shitstorm because of targets and, okay, who am I reporting to and all of that sort of stuff. But here lied within an opportunity where, I was an individual contributor at that time, but I kind of put myself forward as being a team lead, right? Can you help when all the chaos is going down and build yourself as an asset? And, when it came to new hires coming on board, then I would help them on board, again, become that asset. Because I think when everybody gets fearful of the jobs, and the other advice that I gave to somebody this week was, don't panic when everybody else is panicking because that's their fears and insecurities and they're trying to convey them onto you. So the other thing is, Tom put here, keep your head down and focus at the job at hand. Everybody else is going crazy, but don't join with the bandwagon of the craziness. Because I can remember when sitting next to my peers and they're like, oh yeah, so such and such has left and it's like a revolving door here and, oh God, what's going to, you will feed into the fear. So be careful of that and just focus on yourself. And the other side of it is if the redundancy does come, and it does happen, because again, it could be a reality. When you get that news, a lot of companies will either offer some sort of severance pay or, gardening leave or, helping you find that next job. But here again is another opportunity to really reflect on what is it that you want to do with your career and life. Because the other side of it is your life isn't a job, right? There is much more to life than just a job. But granted, you've got bills to pay and you've got commitments. Maybe you've got kids and family and all of this sort of stuff. I get it. But, if we go back to the end of 2022, even in my own biz, when I had my only client cut me just before Christmas, I was shitting bricks. But it really gave me the opportunity, and I had to go job hunting like everybody else. But here I kind of had the idea of, what is it that I want to do, and what do I actually really enjoy doing? Because sometimes when you're doing a job 9 to 5 and we get really comfortable, we just do it because it's a job and we need the money. But sometimes we may not be doing what we're really enjoying. You see what I mean? So here, like with the job hunting, and as I've been coaching with a few people, is what is it that you really want to do? What type of industries? Or, if it is a startup that you want to go back to, what product would you're gaga about? Like with me, I love companies like Fathom and AI. That's the space I really love. And here's your opportunity to figure that out. And the last bit of advice that I gave to this person in the DMs was, make sure, like, they've still got a job, but make sure that you're saving some cash aside for a rainy day. And that rainy day will be your runway, that if shit hits the fan and you get let go, that you've got a little bit of a cash flow to help you out whilst you're either job hunting or potentially taking a break, going on a holiday and then thinking, right, I'm going to come back to this. Always have an emergency fund just in case. And, this person said to me, well, how much would you recommend? And I said, at least have 2 months worth. If that's 2 months salary, and, if that was your commission that you're earning, then put that aside, or just save what you can, enough to cover your commitments, bills, etc. in the event that you're out of work, right? So yeah, layoffs, they're real. Redundancies, that happen, but especially in tech space, it's normal. And again, don't take it personally. Make sure that you build yourself an asset. See if there's an opportunity for you to take on a new role or help out with things while everything's going mad. And when everybody else is going mad, make sure you keep your head and make sure that you've got some cash aside as well. What other DMs have I been having? I had one DM from somebody on LinkedIn saying, Neil, you put out a lot of videos on LinkedIn and it's something they want to start doing. Let me just have a sip. What advice would you give for somebody that wants to start putting videos on LinkedIn? And my first bit of advice to them was just do it. Don't overthink it. Same way I'm doing these Instagram lives, I just click the live, just went for it, and then we just see what happens. But he was asking more specific because he works in the events industry. So he's been doing really great LinkedIn posts to raise awareness for these, leadership tables or networking events, etc. And he now wants to put a face and his voice onto LinkedIn with video. So the advice that I gave this dude was the same thing that I learned when doing TikTok videos. So when I finally got onto the TikTok wagon, I didn't know what I was doing, right? I was just trying to create videos as I would on here or, like with my podcast. But somebody that I was actually training in Texas, in the States, he had his videos hit like the millions. And I'm like, dude, how the hell are you doing that? And what's your secret sauce? And he said, here's the problem, Neil. A lot of the times when, traditional salespeople who have been on LinkedIn forever come on to other platforms, the mistake they make is they try to do the same shit that they were doing on those platforms, looking like a business profesh. All of their videos were as if they were doing a webinar of some sort. And like they're trying to talk to this massive invisible audience that they can't see. And again, he said they're just treating it like LinkedIn. He said, here's the thing with TikTok. When you're recording a video, record a video as if you're just talking to one person, as if you were doing a video call with your friend. He said, because when you start talking like that, the other person on the other end of the phone feels like you're talking to them and you make more of a connection rather than you're trying to talk to everybody out there. And he said, when you come in with like a compelling hook, and you probably see a lot of videos of, does this piss you off, or is this a problem? Or it could just be, did you know? But when it comes to the videos on LinkedIn, I think I come up with a hook of something of, here's a really hot topic at the minute. Then you give your 2 cents, and your opinion on that subject. And then towards the end, you have to have some sort of call to action. So, the hook could be, do you know what? I'm seeing a lot of SDRs worried about layoffs. Here's my advice on those layoffs, and this is what I would do. And then the call to action is, if you want some advice or, you need somebody to speak to, slide into my DMs. So to this dude who asked me about, doing more videos on LinkedIn and around networking events, I said, here's a common topic for the type of people that go to these events. Here's your 2 cents on why this sort of event would be really useful and beneficial for people to brainstorm together. And then the CTA or call to action is, DM me if you'd like to attend, or, click the registration in the comments, or perhaps DM me if you want some more information. So yeah, to kind of summarize that off, when doing videos, record it as if you're talking to one person rather than a massive office audience. Have a structure of a hook, your 2 cents on it, and a call to action. Yeah, I'll see how he gets on with it as well. What other DMs have I been having? Just need to have another sip. It's quite cold out here in the UK. I'm in Epsom at the minute, and I'm in a big van because I don't own a car. I hire a car. Well, actually, I don't hire a car. I what is it called? So it's something called Zipcar. So the cool thing with okay, I'm going off tangent here, but I like to share it with you. I had a car many years ago. I can drive, as you can tell, but where I live, there is no space for parking, and historically, I'm really happy to get on public transport because I used to travel a lot, and I travel a lot for work. So, yeah, and the maintenance of the car isn't cool. But with this Zipcar thing, they have them dotted around your city. You literally open them up with the app, and you pay by the hour. But all of the insurance, road tax, fuel, everything is covered, and it's just so much more easier. So you can just use it when you want to use it, and you just pay, like, I don't know. Let me just give an example. If I was going from, I don't know, somewhere like South London in Kingston to Wimbledon by an Uber, that probably cost me about 24 to 28 pounds British sterling. But doing it with this, where I rented this for an hour, and that's the difference with Uber. The Uber, that person's driving, and you have to follow their route. But here I can drive like wherever I want and whatever route. But price comparison, with this, it would probably cost me £12 for the hour, and I can use it as much as I want. Anyway, so if you're liking this content, please make sure that you do give a like, share it with anybody that you think would be benefiting. Another thing, if you ever want to slide into my DMs and you got questions, I'd love to hear them, and perhaps I can bring them onto this Insta live that I'm doing. What other DMs have I been seeing? Yeah, I got some feedback from a video that I did whilst I was up in Newcastle about what is it like to prospect me? And, Nia from my sales coach asked me the question, Neil, what is it about a message or a DM that makes you think that this person needs a reply? And dudes and dudettes, I get prospected on a regular basis, and I like it because I get to see how other people prospect, which then helps me share that with people I'm training or coaching, right? But sometimes I get messages, and what I'm ultimately looking at is when I open the messages, okay, how long is this going to take for me to read? And if I can do it in 30 seconds or less, great. If I don't have to swipe more than twice on the message, great. But what I like is, somebody comes in with some sort of research or some sort of homework. And sometimes I don't have to do the whole homework piece, right? But it has to be relevant. So why they're reaching out. And then a simple explanation of what they're trying to do. So is it to meet because they've got this project and this is something they're working on and they'd like to have some advice on it. Or, they've recently started their career and they want to get better at cold calling or emailing, and they want some time with a coach to talk this out. The things that I don't like is when it's really convoluted and it's long and you just can't understand what the hell or the ask is. So make the ask simple, or what the hell are you talking about simple. And then the call to action is, Neil, can we jump on a call to discuss this? Neil, can I send over some ideas and then get your feedback? Make it really clear. People that are really vague and not just saying everything because they feel, if I put it all in the message, he's not going to understand it. Or, we need to have a call for me to fully explain it. But if you can just make it easy of why, what is it about, and what do you want, then it's super easy. But equally, the people that I replied to respectfully, because I, like, hats off to the craft of prospecting, and I'd be a dick if I just ghosted people, right? Being an SDR trainer and coach. The other thing is the people that I will say no to. I will say no, but I always feel that they deserve a reason as to why. So if somebody wanted to introduce a platform to me, I would say no, because I have this, or no, because I'm a one-man business owner, don't have a team, so that tool wouldn't be relevant. Or, the other thing that I will say no to nowadays is free coaching, that was one of the DMs that I had this week, where somebody that I used to coach, they stopped coaching because they left their business, hadn't heard from them for about 5-6 months. And he DM'd me in the week and he said, "Hi Neil, started a new role. I'm doing biz dev. This company has never done outbound sales before, and I'm that first guy and they're expecting me all to do it. Would love to jump on a call to discuss, prospecting and doing this for them." And I went back to the guy and said, "Great to hear that you're in a new job. Congratulations. Just to make sure we're on the same page, are you looking for paid coaching or free advice?" And pardon me. So that person then got back and said what they'd like to do is discuss their attack plan for the territory and the region, the channels they're going for, etc., etc., etc. And I just said, "Sounds like paid coaching, no?" Put a smiley face on there. And then he said, "Yeah, do you know what? I guess if you're really good at what you do, then you wouldn't be doing it for free, right? I'm not really in a position to put coaching to my company as I've just come in. But maybe I'll reach back out to you later." And this is a key thing where, I've got to be firm and fair. But I just said to him, I said, "Yeah, do you know what? If I get paid to do this and then I'm doing it for free, it kind of defeats the point. And, I know my worth and my value. And again, if you've had coaching from me, you know how good it is." So I said to him, but equally, I had to give him a bit of grace and say, "Dude, you know what you're doing. If that company has never done outbound, you're telling them how to do outbound. And if anything, based on what our working experience together, you know how to prospect. So perhaps come back to me in a couple of months when you've built this outbound engine for this new company you're working, and then you actually have something to discuss and review on a call, and that's going to be more worthy of your time." So the key thing is, I don't do freebies, except for 1 or 2 people in my life, that have helped me out and stuff, or friends, and doing that. But on a regular B2B business model where, it's my livelihood and that's how I get paid, dude, and pay my rent, I don't do that stuff for free. What else has been going on in the DMs? I think we've got time for just one more. What's a really big topic that's been going on in my DM? I'm a little bit stumped. Nope, I am completely stumped. For once. I think those have been the main ones, the tech layoffs, going into new jobs, free coaching, putting out video content. I'm done, dudes. Cool. Well, if anything, this was my Saturday sliding into the DMs. I've had some fun. If this content has been valuable for you, please give it a like. Please give it a share. And if you want me to answer any of your DMs on this, I'm doing this every other week on a Saturday when my boy's here and I've got time in the car. I'd love to continue doing them. And I will take this content, I'll repurpose it, go into the other channels and help out with helping more people. But thank you very much for joining. Tom, thank you for joining as well, my dude. It's been a pleasure having you on board, and everybody else, have a great day and happy selling. I'll see you on the other side.